see those from Andrew, Mike, and Ian. The others I don't have heard from.
So that's Dale, Sarah, Scott, and Al.
Right. We have anything. Okay, adjustments to the agenda. Under new business 15.2 should actually have gone under 6.9. So just put that in there. And entertain a motion to accept the minutes of January 30th. Moved by Lynn, second. Any errors, omissions? Bill?
We weren't in the gymnasium, I feel like where we were.
We're in the cafeteria. Any other errors? If not, all those in favor? Opposed? Not voted. And under communications correspondence, we had a retirement notification for Mary Ann O'Donnell at Tech 2 at Spruce Mt Middle School. Get a motion for that.
So moved.
We had with regret. Motion from Lynn, second. Phoebe. All those in favor? So moved. Any public comments? Nope. Board comments? Anyone? Superintendent's report.
Good evening. Thanks to all of our poor weather these past 2 weeks. My new wake-up time is 4 a.m. That's probably why I got the 13th and the 14th wrong when I sent out the message this morning. I think I panicked a couple of gentlemen out there who thought that they did get a Valentine's gift for their wives or their girlfriends when they heard that it was the 14th and not the 13th. So I quickly changed that, and hopefully nobody got too shaken up about that. We've had 6 school days at this point so far. So at this point in time, our last student day will be June 16th. Coming up over vacation, our SRO here in Gilbert will be conducting an active shooter training for the JPD and other local authorities at Spruce Mt High School and Spruce Mt Middle School on February 19th. Those buildings will be closed to public on those days. And actually also district employees will be closed unless they are involved in the training. We do have some district employees, including myself and Mr. Staples, involved in the training. During the past couple of weeks, I've attended a number of meetings. On January 31st, I attended the Foster CTE Center and Superintendent's Principals Advisory Board meeting. On February 10th, I met with Kevin, Greg, Pat, and Doug Saunders from the Franklin County Children's Task Force. We were sitting down to work on our proposal for hopefully getting the 21st Century Grant back in our district again. On the morning of February 11th, I met with Crystal Flagg and Town Manager Shiloh Fenner and Steve Blue to talk budget. Later in the day, I met with Amy Byron from Littlemore and we went over some budget numbers with her as well. On February 12th, I was at an audit meeting with Western Maine superintendents. Later on in the day, I met with Mr. Harrington and Betsy Willacross Ford from Androscoggin Head Start to discuss our upcoming year with our Head Start and pre-K programs. Finally, at the end of the day, on the 12th, I met with Association President Nate Harmon for our monthly meeting. I also had my normal 2 weekly meetings, and this time with the Chair Bob Staples.
Anything for Scott?
Have you had an update on where the state is going with the CES for children that are not at school?
They still don't know where they're going to go yet. So
Okay.
they've been
Are
they're having discussions on that. I think they realize, or they're starting to realize that a lot of these districts, we don't have room for that. And are they going to then hand us money for expansions in order to have that? I don't think that's going to happen, so we'll just have to wait and see.
Anyone else? Administrative reports, I know we didn't ask for any, but is there anything that anyone, again, special they want to let us know? Good. But I have nothing. Committee reports, policy, goal. Nothing under old business. Under new business. Entertain a motion to authorize the amendments to the MSMA Workers' Compensation Insurance Declaration of Trust and Indemnity Agreement. Moved by Tammy, second. Vote. Any questions on that?
Feel free to ask this
We have Crystal mic'd up tonight, so we can. No questions? I'm assuming, Crystal, that you recommend that we vote in your favor. All those in favor? So moved. Yeah, what we're all here for. Budget overview. The Spruce Mt. Middle School co-curriculum. Regular ed, no
Good evening. Last time at our meeting, I passed out this document. I'm assuming that you still have it, but if you don't, I have extra copies. So let me know if you need one. Excellent. We'll hold on to one.
Anybody else know that?
So we spoke about the admin lines last time, which are numbers 1 and 2 on the document that I provided. So we'll start with number 3, which is regular instruction teacher salaries. There's a significant increase there, mostly attributed to the addition of a 6th grade teacher that would be moving up from the elementary school to join us. So the offset there is at the elementary school. Questions about that? Excellent. So moving to number 4 on my list, also under regular instruction, is ed tech salaries. And you'll see an increase there of $26,470. And that is for the establishment of a new position at the middle school of an ed tech 3. This position is designed to serve 2 purposes. The first is to be a support person for our restorative practices that we will be implementing as we go down the road of learning more about and preparing for implementing restorative practices at the middle school level. We have found that the schools that have been most successful have an identified person that serves the need to go between the classroom and the office. So if there is a minor to moderate situation that comes up that needs immediate processing, we have an identified person there who's been trained in restorative that can use those strategies in the moment and make a decision about what happens next for that student based on processing. Very well could be that we try to get them back to class right away, or it might need more attention from Mr. Collins or myself if it was a more significant issue. We believe that this same position could also be utilized to establish a formal in-school suspension program at our school. Right now, we don't really have the opportunity when something comes up that requires that a student be removed from the classroom to keep them in the building. And when students are out of school, they're out of school. And it's a really strong message to send to say, I'm sorry, you have to go away for a while and leave our community. And we believe it will be much more effective to have a place in our school so that when a student experiences suspension, they can stay connected to our community, be able to work under the supervision of a staff member, and focus on their academic work as well as processing what the issue may have been, so they can return to the classroom as smoothly as possible with complete resolution. So we don't have students that are suspended every single day out of school, and we believe that this person will be able to fill both of those roles. So, any questions about that? Okay. Okay. All right, moving on to number 5 on my list, also under regular instruction, you'll see an increase for contracted services, an increase of $26,100. And that is what would be the portion of our contribution to the establishment of a Jobs for Maine Graduates program at the middle school level. You may be familiar with JMG. They are traditionally a high school program. They've been expanding a lot, moving up into post-secondary and also down into middle school. I will say that we are absolutely starving for hands-on, practical, real-world-based instruction and support for our students, and with a focus on careers and what types of skills that you need right now to prepare for those careers is a way for us to reach a group of our students that we're not currently reaching. Question? Yes.
You said that the middle school's share would be this
Correct.
amount.
Yes.
What other funds would be necessary to implement that position?
I believe the remainder of the fund comes direct from JMG, but I'm not absolutely certain.
Yes, typically the remainder of the funds do come from Jobs for Maine Graduates. I have spoken with them at this time. They do not have any money to give to expand their programming because they've expanded throughout the state. But because they've been upfront with me, and I wanted to be upfront with everybody here, my concern is if we take this amount out, and then all of a sudden they come up with some grant money, because most of their money is based on grants, we'd be prepared because we had our share of city. If they were honest with us right away, said at this point in time, they don't have the extra money to expand the program. Obviously, if they don't have that money, this position would not go through. But I think it's important if we can possibly do it, to keep that money sitting there, because if that money does come up and they can expand, we are ready to go, because we have our share.
Any other questions? Okay. Moving on to number 6, still under regular instruction for the middle school, professional courses for teachers. There's a decrease here of $2,500, and that's really just an adjustment based on actual use of those funds for the past couple of years. Continuing under regular instruction for instructional supplies, you'll see an increase there of about $3,500. Most of that increase is related to replacement of furniture for one of our classrooms. I'd like to establish a rotating assignment of replacing furniture in our building. So next year we'll be looking to adopt another classroom and replace that furniture so we can keep things going. We do have I would love to do probably about 3 or 4 rooms right now. Our tables are taking a beating. Many of them are welded back together and screwed back together and a pencil stuck in the hole, and we just need to get going on replacing some of that furniture, which is not inexpensive. Also, we've had a couple of minor increases for a few teachers for instructional supplies. Our phys ed supplies are pretty low right now. We've had a turnover with a new teacher who's doing an amazing job, and we're trying to support getting some new supplies and phys ed. And then also for a couple of our new teachers, they came into very empty rooms, and so we've made some minor increases there so they can get things back up on par with where they should be. Questions there? Okay. Also still under regular instruction is computer software. There's a decrease there of about $2,000, and again, this is more of an adjustment based on our past use of that actual line. We're going to skip to middle school academic. The first line there is stipends. We have exceeded that line the last couple of years, and again, this is an adjustment, but an increase. And then moving to athletics, there is an adjustment with the stipends there to reflect actual use of that line, a bit more in line with what we're actually using. And then also in athletics is an increase for the officials. There's been an increase in the fees that we need to pay. We believe increasing that by about $500 should be added. Are there any questions that I could answer on those items or any others? Yes?
I have to say, I'm excited that we're saving up the J&G funds in case they're needed. I think that would be great.
Yeah.
Mr. Scott knows the school suspension is great for those who act out, and I know they're on the line. It proves a very valid point for those who try it. So
Yeah.
not every kid needs to be out of school.
I absolutely agree.
So that's.
And I should have prefaced my comments regarding JMG and in-school with my own personal experience in the past. With both of those programs, I've had very, very positive experiences with.
Mr. Collins does great, but he can only be spread so thin. So
You're absolutely.
will that ed tech also help when you need it in the office when it's full of kids waiting to see you or Mr. Collins?
Well, in theory, the office would not back up the students because there's that midway point
Right.
when something minor to moderate comes up that they don't need to get to the office because there is that midway point that can stop the process with them and get them back to class soon without them actually getting to us. So it's a filter to make sure the appropriate resources are handling the right problem.
So anybody that questions those just show up at 1:30 in the afternoon and just look around.
Anytime after lunch.
On the Alex reference you
Sure.
put
Yeah.
can you just explain, are you trying to do, is it?
No,
Go ahead and explain it.
it's not a reduction in use of the program. It's just that in the past, we have not come close to using the money that has been set aside for it.
Okay, but we're not like making it less available or anything
No.
like that?
Nope.
We're covering everybody?
Correct. Yes, absolutely. And I've had a fair amount of conversation regarding the Alex program. It's highly valued by the staff, and there's no interest in reducing utilization of the program.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Spruce Mt High School, regular.
Morning, everyone. Good evening. No, I'm stuck on morning for some reason. It's the 14th. Okay, so I did have this sheet I gave out to you today also. Gave it to you last time also. So we'll go ahead and start with number 2. Number 2, 3, and 4 are on page 9. So you could go right to that in your budget book. The first one is Spruce Mt High School Instruction General Supply. This is an increase due to just teacher requests for supplies within the classroom. And I also, last time, gave you a rundown for every teacher's requests. There's one sheet in there that you do have. It's an increase of $5,408. The next one is for AV equipment. The increase is due to a strategic plan to replace the projectors that we currently have with wall-mounted TVs. They're much easier to see. The old projectors cost quite a bit to replace. Just having a light bulb replaced in that thing is ridiculous. So we are going with some really nice flat screen TV. I've talked to Chris. We're going to work out some I want a really big one, and he says I can't go that big. So we'll see where it goes from there. Right? Number 4 is also under Spruce Mountain Instruction. This is for equipment. We are trying to replace some classroom desks and chairs. We're going to do 2 of them per year, 2 classrooms per year. And that's an increase of $6,195. If you could go to page 11, which is for guidance. Something that's happened this year that we're looking forward to for next year is that most of the college courses that we do pay for students, we normally pay here at Spruce Mt High School, pay for 2 per year for a kid to take a college course. There's no limit on how many they want to take. They could go more than that, but we'll pay for 2. The cool thing is, most of the colleges that we currently have right now, next year we don't have to pay for it. So I've taken $7,000 out of that. It's something that they're working out with UMFK, UMF, UMA, Hudson. All these colleges are saying we're going to offer some free college courses. So, looks pretty good. Okay.
Regardless of the student's financial.
Absolutely. Yeah. So that's something that I begged for. Especially, I started off begging it with UMFK because they have a really good rural youth program where you can do it all online. Scott Wilson is the guy up there that kind of got it going. And he pretty much coerced the rest of them to do the same thing. So it's been nice.
Are they limiting it to 2 courses or as many as people?
As many as they want to take. Yeah. Yeah. They'll still have to pay for books and things like that, and that's fine. I'm going to try to incorporate that into it because I did leave some money in there in case a kid can't pay for a book. That will pay for a book. Any other questions on college? Okay, we're going to move to page 15. This is for the Spruce Mountain High School Library, the AV material. They have a separate line item for AV materials. This year, one thing that we've noticed in the library is we do not have desktop computers. And they would like to have one specifically for, or 2 of them specifically for their makerspaces programs that they're doing in there. And I believe I have somebody on staff that can either make some over the summer or build some over the summer, or we can find a really good one online. So probably be able to get 2 of them for $1,500. Spruce Mountain, the next one is page 17. And these ones are due to, this one right here is for the academics, and it's the academic stipends. This is really an increase due to the contract that we have for stipends. It's going to cost us about $7,000 to actually get to where we need to be according to the steps. And then number 8 is in athletics. Athletics, again, I know we said it in the Spruce Mountain Middle School athletics with the officials and police. The officials, I will tell you, have gone up quite a bit this year. They have we contract with people outside of our school in order to fulfill the officials, and their costs have gone up. So that's why that has gone up $2,200. Contracted services, that is just another area that has to go up according to the uniform replacements, or not uniform replacements, but the I'll tell you, the football equipment has to be refurbished every year. That cost has gone up again, so we're working through that piece. And then the last one, which is general supplies, we decreased it down to $1,600. We have replaced most of the uniforms as of right now, and we're starting to get into the next round. So everything's looking good in that athletics department.
Any questions? Doug?
Part of the role of the SRO, does he go to the games to do the policing, or not really? Is that his role, or-
He will if we ask him if there's a certain issue that we have some privy to. But we pay Livermore Falls to do it down at the football field. And then when we need an officer for Jay, they usually just hang out here anyways for basketball and that type of stuff. So they're already on, so they don't get charged for that.
Any other questions for TJ? Thank you.
Have a good morning.
Down. Next one, transportation.
Good evening. You can see I got just a few items. As you can see, number one, the salary supervisor. That was the biggest increase that we had. That was when we split two jobs. The transportation department, I was always paid out of the system-wide, but when we split the jobs, the transportation department had to absorb the whole amount from my salary. So that's what that is. Any questions on that? The next one we had was salaries for bus drivers went up quite a bit. That was through the union negotiations, 2.64% increase. Number three, contracted professionals. That's going up due to the Bailey's contract. It's going to be going up $3 per hour in July. So that was in addition to $6,240 to that. So that brings that line up for contracted professionals up to $131,000. For their part, it was $131,000, and then all the rest was about $7,000 that we pay, about $8,000 we pay all the rest of our contractors that we use. So, any questions on that one?
Are we under contract with Bailey right now, or how long is our contract?
What's that?
How long is our contract with Bailey?
This one that they just proposed to us is a 3 years, 3-year contract. This one is up in July. Scott has the contract. We haven't really sat down and take a look at it yet and see what we're going to do for something yet. So,
Any idea?
Well, we're always looking at ways to save money, but until the budget actually passes, we're not going to sign any contract to think of it. So we'll take a look and see where we can save money, and if it's someplace else, great. If it's not, we'll stay with Bailey's. They've done a nice job for us. And we know what the contract's going to be. It's $3 per hour more than what.
Michael, we got all the questions, I'm sorry. So in the past, the board voted on that contract. Will that be the same then? I don't believe the last contract they went out very much. We had some consolidation. So I know $3 is like a lot, but you know, for what they've done for us, I don't think that's a huge amount. I think in the past it's like on the full before.
I'll take a look at the procedure.
Okay, and number 4, the last one I have is the contracted transportation. That's when I was sitting with Scott and Crystal, we had overdraft that account last year by, I think, about 12,000. So we figured we'd add 8,000 in, round it up, to see if we can cover the cost for the outside transportation. We transport, well, we don't transport, but we have 9 students out of district that we have to pay for transportation. So we got different contractors that do that. We picked one student up this year that the contract of transportation wasn't working out. And we just happened to have a van going to Auburn and we could fit it into the schedule. So that probably saved us probably about $1,800 to $2,000 a month. Because we have one student now that we pay, it's about $2,000 a month to transport them in different areas. And we got them going in Auburn, Belgrade, Ambassador, I think, South China, places like that. Some of these parents that are being paid out of the account, and the rest is outside contract.
Any other questions?
Am I reading that line correctly? We've already paid like $29,000 for the year, and we've only budgeted $32 this year. We'll probably be over again this year.
Yeah, that's why we added to see if we could try to cover it. And hopefully, we're going to try to work out some ways. Maybe we can transport more of our own out, and it wouldn't cost us as much.
Anyone else? Thank you.
Thank you.
Facilities and maintenance.
Good evening. I'm sure I'm probably going to be too long for most people sitting out in the audience here, but there are several buildings here. To try to go through some things and explain right now, I did pass out a packet. In that packet, you'll see the budget lines. And what I've done, you'll see in the second bunch of papers you have, is I went through and I listed out every person that we have for an employee and where they work, the number of hours they work, and the number of days in that area. Certainly look through it and ask any questions as you go on. As you see, we have several employees that are split shift, and they do bus driving and custodial work. So. And also in that, you'll see just a sheet that says contracted professionals. I believe I passed this out once before to the board, but this will explain as I go down through each school what comes out of that line of contracted professionals. Certainly, if you ask me how much it is, I can certainly give you figures on different items in each school. Each school is a little bit different than on most items in other schools. Usually it goes by the size of the school, number of square feet, and different things of that nature. And the last piece in that packet is what we have, number 2 fuel, diesel, propane costs. I went back to 2013, 2014, and you see all the things up through to this year. We've signed a contract. We did get some decrease, approximately 10 cents a gallon on number 2 oil, and diesel is, I believe, around 15 cents we get for decrease. Certainly that's the thing that you can look at and say, should we lock in, should we not lock in? Speaking with Scott and things, we felt that at this point, when we was looking through it, that we should probably lock in because we know it's going to be at least this much lower than it was last year. Sometimes we've gone with a thing and waited too long and we paid 50, 60 cents a gallon more. So
That's pretty much why you'll see that we did lock in at that price there. Also in my budget here, you'll see, to explain, after talking with Scott and also from the negotiations that's been done, we're looking at creating all 260-day employees. Generally, each year, and like I say, I sat down and went through all the budget, and if you look through all these lines on each road, on each facility, I think you'll see that the bottom line isn't much higher by doing this, because we always garnish a bunch of money for the summertime, for summertime help. And that would be the people that work 205 days. There's some of the reasons why we decided that we'll look at creating this to be all 260. And some of the big reasons are to try to find qualified help all the time. I think you realize we've lost 3 people in the last 5 months. We have replaced it with 2 people who I believe are very, very good candidates. They seem to be really turning out very well. We still have 1 position we have to fill that we haven't been able to fill. As we interview these people, the biggest thing they always say is we want a full-time job. And to find qualified people who want to work a split shift, as I said, they come in the morning, drive a bus for 2 hours, 2.5 hours. They go home, stay home until 1 o'clock, 1:30 in the afternoon. They come back to drive a bus, and then they go and work usually 4 hours in the evening. That is hard. It's sad to say that we have one of the people that we did just hire, we didn't actually take him from another district. And that's compliments to you guys for the benefits and the pay that you do give them. This gentleman is, I think, going to turn out very good. We are looking at right now within the next, I believe, 2 years, we have 5 people that I believe are going to be gone due to retirement. And when I say 5 people, I mean, these are very good employees that I think we're going to miss very much. And I know we're going to be replaced, but some of these people are people that you don't want to know who they are, certainly come and ask me, and I think most people agree that some of them will be hard to fill their shoes. There again, when I go through this whole line here, what I've done is taken all the money out of system-wide, and so there'll be no more hiring of the 205 day people in the summertime. There'll be no more hirings of college kids. There'll be no more hiring of any subs. What you're going to see is what you got. When you see that list of employees, those are the people we'll have from now on. When somebody gets done, that'll be a position that will be hired in. Not saying that they can't be moved around to the areas that we need in different schools, but that's where they'll be. So I think it make it simple for myself, certainly, and certainly for you guys to look at that list and say, I know where this person works, how many hours they work in this area, how many hours they drive bus. Every year, sometimes the busing does change, so we understand that's going to take precedent. With the new contract and things, I figured out there's approximately 78 weeks of vacation time, which equals up to 390 days. There's also 102 personal days that will be off, so all total is about 492 days that all of our employees take off. So I think it's very important to know who we have and where we can work them. So with that said, I'll start right in on the first page of the primary school. There again, we start off with an increase here of the pay. The salary of custodians, that will be up $19,550. And a lot of that's due to the increase to 464. And also with this is a 30-cent shift differential for the night workers. They also get a 30-cent shift differential, so that was all figured in. Benefit custodians, I mean, I think you've all been told by Crystal and Sean numerous times of all the variety of things that encompasses, workers' comp, social security, any kind of retirement plan that they have, dental, life, and health insurance, which is, of course, a big one. And as we go down through and see these, you'll see some are up, some are down. A lot of times that depends on whether who we hire, what people are doing, can family plan, or can do single plan, that certainly can vary every year, and it does, and with really no control. Repairs to maintenance equipment. This line here was always at $500. What I've done now, after going through all these budgets, and it's taken quite a few years, is to realize that Whiting Primary only have $500 in there, and the other schools all had several thousand. The reason being is because the only thing I paid for out of that for repairs and maintenance was just for the lawnmowers and things. So what I done is I took money from the repairs, maintenance, and building, which you'll see is down $10,000, and put $6,500 into this account. This will cover any HVAC, and what this also does is it actually shows you, and it shows myself, shows Scott, and it shows the auditors that if we have an HVAC problem, or if we have a mechanical problem on any of our equipment or anything, that is the line that's going to happen. So it's no longer going to come out of a building maintenance repair. It'll be just like all the other 4 buildings that we have, and they'll come out of this area here. On repairs, maintenance, and buildings. I'm sorry, I skipped one here. Repairs, maintenance, and grounds. You'll see that went down 150. It was possible this year for that to go down, but Kevin has asked that we complete a fence that's around the outside of the primary school out back. We got one more section to go. As you see, I get them down here. It's a 53 by 58 length fence. So by doing that, that's going to be approximately $5,000. So we're going down $150 instead of $5,000. On repairs, maintenance, and building, again, you'll see that we've gone down $10,000. Generally, the reason for that is because we took $6,500 out of this account, put it into the repairs and maintenance, and also we did quite a major project last year for the upstairs, which cost around $12,000 to install new antifreeze. That's done. We have to install 2 antifreeze in the boiler room in the old section, but it's only going to be approximately around $3,500, so that will come out of this area. Electricity. This is an area that we also looked at. You see the figures that I've come up with that we did for the first 6 months. I think Joel mentioned this, that we certainly have seen a big decrease in the electricity and things in our district. Hopefully it's a lot of it's due to the phase 1 of all the upgrades that we did. Hopefully phase 2 will do better, and also hopefully that the solar power that we're going to be entered into for getting credits is also going to lower us some more. So for an area to cut, we looked at and thought that this would be an area that we could certainly eliminate some money. And that's for the primary school.
So for the electricity, should we cut a little bit more? We're only going to spend like $20,000, but we have budgeted like $30,000.
I don't think we should. Because we never know what's going to happen. We never know if something will, take more power or, next year, I think after we see how the credits come out with the solar panel, and also with this, it certainly would be an area that we could cut. I think when we talked about the phase 1 even, they recommended that we didn't cut anything out of these. Keep them in there and put it with the debt service, but, I guess we all figured that debt service is going to come out of that service, so.
You can see the numbers from last year, we only spent $21,000 on electricity, this year we only spent 10 so far, so still got a lot of wiggle room there, in my opinion.
I hope you're right, then there will be a one we got.
But if we got to sandbag some, I guess it's electricity.
Okay, on the next page on the elementary school. And again, kind of self-explanatory. The increase is due to the raises and changing around. Benefit package went down substantially. That, like I said, that always deals with who we have, who we just hired, who we've changed around that has family plans or single plan. It's a big thing. can go back to just to give you a little bit of information, because I asked Crystal about this. I think you'll find that our benefit package generally costs around $30,000. So, and then that's with a family plan. So if you get that knocked down, you're not another $10,000 off of that for a single plan. I mean, $10,000 is a big decrease all of a sudden. So that's generally where you're going to see the big decrease in any of these benefit packages. Contracted professionals is what I told you about that we have every year. All those items that I gave you a list of there, those are things that, you know, the schools, we have to take out certain amount of each one of those. And some of them not, and when I say each one of them, not everyone has all that list on there. Not every school has an elevator in it, and not every school, you know, they do put toward the lift payment. But that's the entire list of what we have to have contract services. And we did just sign it, this year we've signed a contract with Siemens for 3 more years for the high school, middle school, and elementary school. There's some contracts coming up next year that we'll have to discuss next year as we start the budget plan. One will be the elementary and the primary and the central office. We just signed a contract with Stanley Elevator for the elevators for 3 years. Next year we'll have to discuss about rubbish and recycling removal, but we still got another whole year on that. So and they stay flat, so it's okay. Water and sewer, you see a pretty good decrease here. I think you remember last year that at the elementary we had a leak and they judged sewer rates. Actually, the year before last, we had the leak in the winter there, and they judge our rates by how much water goes out through the sewer. So we paid approximately $9,000 more than it was. And so that's why you see a big decrease here. What you see for figures there that I wrote down are what we paid so far this year, and that's anticipated what we're going to pay the rest of it. Propane, when we did these projects, we signed a 5-year, Dr. Wall signed a 5-year contract with Dead River. 3 years was locked in for a price of $147.5 for our propane. And what this also did when they signed the contract was they had to pay for all the items that we had, the tanks that we had put in, the regulators and everything. So that paid for that through this year. That's why that price is at. I mean, propane might be down to 105, 110, but we locked in for this price so we didn't pay for all these items through that project. And that's how we did it. And at the end of next year, at the end of when we come into 2021, we can sit down and negotiate a new price for propane for the last 2 years of the contract. And we get lower, and then up.
Are we seeing any savings on electricity at the elementary school? But you have electricity on all the others, but not that.
Yeah, not a whole lot. And I think the thing is, when you look at these things, and I think that what had happened in the past is, especially at the primary school, we had a kind of a high figure there to begin with, you know, that we didn't use that much, and you know, so now it's come to the point where we say, okay, now we can cut it back. The elementary school was pretty close to being exactly what we use, and that's what we looked at. We talked about what areas can we cut and feel comfortable in doing. I think that's another one too, that at the end of the year, once we go through this other phase and see how much it decreases. But by looking at the figure, I think you'll find that we're going to be pretty close to using what we have listed there. I think that'll go in.
Just a question on propane, because I don't understand it. We only spent $9,000 this year. Do we have to spend the whole $35,000? So right now we spend.
We do have a contract that we have to spend so much. I mean, I have to look at it and tell you, but we did when we signed the contract. There was so much that Siemens told us that they anticipated that we'd be using every year, so that was what they went by. Because to get the payments back for the equipment and things, there was a certain amount that we had to pay. So
It just seems like we're over budgeted there because 9,000, if you do another 9,000, it's only 18,000. Is that like a penalty then at that point in time?
I think there will be a penalty. At the very end, if we don't pay for that equipment, there'll be a penalty.
What's the challenge? I don't understand that.
Yeah. school. Salary, what you see, and that's what the raises and the night differential. Complete benefit package for 5 employees. Again, probably one of the people within that system picked up a family benefit package. Contract professionals, that actually went down a little bit, and the reason why that went down basically was because we had approximately $8,000 in that for roofing. This year we plan on, I cut $4,000 out of that $8,000. Hopefully in our phase 2, we're gonna have the roof renovated on the middle school. If that is the case, if you guys do approve to go through phase 2, and we do the roofing on that school, we could actually cut the other $4,000 off. There'd be no money to be put into that roof this year because we have a roof. We would have a warranty on it. Like I said, we did this, that 8,000 and 4,000 cut out of it. We could cut the other 4 if we wanted to, if we really thought it was going to do the project. Water and sewer, again, these are kind of, some of these are a little bit of estimate, but they have gone up a little bit. You see what I had down with the figures, which is like about what we have paid so far, and judge them what we're going to pay for the rest of the year. And again, we hope that we don't have leaks. We did have a minor leak here a while ago in the middle school. Hopefully we got it found and got it cured, so we did pay a couple $100 extra that month, but that's no sense can be helping us. Property insurance, you see that, areas they went up. Krista can tell you how much it went up this year. About 12% or something.
We went up 15% of that. Okay, I think we know. We went up 15% of what the actual bill was, because last year it went up 17, and we had only paid in 13.
There we go, electricity. I took these figures and did what we thought was comfortable. I still, I think that's fine. And talking with Scott and Crystal on this, I think we all felt comfortable on this. But, it's just like anything else. You just never know what's going to happen with electricity. We never know if something will happen and go wrong and draw more electricity. I don't think it will. I think we're very safe on spending, taking this $10,000 out of here. But we certainly have some big decrease. High school. They're in high school. You won't see any impact there. That's pretty stable right where it is. Nobody changed, nobody moved. So that's even a little bit less than what the raise is doing. Contract professionals. That's, like I said again, that's the list. There again, the biggest increase on most of these, especially high school, middle school, elementary, were Siemens contracts. There's different things. Sprinkler system went up a little bit. Elevator went up a little bit. Fire extinguisher service went up a little bit. All these are hundreds of dollars rent. So just adds up. If you look at that list of a lot of things on the list that covers. Water and sewer. That's kind of what we anticipate. Your property insurance is what you see is at 15%. And again, electricity was a big decrease. Hopefully we'll see more.
So we're over budget right now for our applicant services. We're at 30,000, we budgeted 25, is that correct?
Right now, I don't believe we will be. For this year, So this is for the new year coming up, with the new contracts
The
and
last year, where we went right now.
right now.
Yeah.
You talking about from the high school?
Yes, for the high school, I see 30,000, but we only budgeted 25. That's correct.
But what page is that on?
33. Contract services.
Yeah. I guess I have to get a figure from Brenda or from Crystal and see what cost more, what went up on that.
And then just another question on the repairs for the maintenance and grounds, you know, we have budget there, 45,000, we've only spent about 15,000, does that, most of that come in the spring?
Yeah, I think both of it will, when we do all the fertilizing, all the preparing for baseball fields. And I think that you're gonna find that some of the stuff that we've already spent for this hasn't come out of here yet. We also take all the salt that we put in the buildings, and the salt through walkways and things. So I think that some of it, from looking at this, I don't believe a lot of that's come out of here yet.
So I think, just to clarify, if Crystal and I are looking at this right, the contracted professional lines that Doug is referring to is actually the middle school operations, not the high school.
Ken, are we gonna talk about system-wide, or?
Oh, you want me to do that too?
Well,
I knew there's something more in it.
Oh, yeah.
I'm not getting out of this, he's heavy.
Oh, this is a good one too, so I should find out. Like we talked about, the changing around of Jim to my position, and we're taking all the money out of having no extra people come in in the summertime and just using our own people. There's been a decrease there. The salary supervisor, that's me. We did take out half of that of my salary, and the other half come out of so benefits and things. Cost. Complete benefit package. There again, some of the things being moved around, some of the people being moved and stapled in different areas, we see a big decrease there. So if you really think of it, it could have been only 2 people that we have had to take half people and move them. And that could be the differences, water went down 26,000, 2 family plans. It could be 3 family plans, or 2 family plans and 1 single family plan. That's what it is. It includes all those things that we talked about. Snow removal, I don't know why it says, what do you guys have in snow removal?
1,000.
Okay, it went up to that, yes, I'm sorry, I was thinking, $1,000, that cost more than that. Okay, it went up $1,000, went from 95,000 to 96,000. Copier lease, you see, that's based, I asked Crystal about that, that's based on each school, individual school, how many copies they have, and how many copies they make of each year on the copy. The copy insurance is the 15% is increased. That was that.
Any questions? Any questions?
Thank you.
Debt service, no.
The only change you'll see in the debt service is the fact that we moved some of it out of the local area, so it's all up under the principal and interest, because the local was based on the primary school loan that we had. And when we merged, that was one thing that had to stay under the local, and now that that has been paid for, it's no longer, nothing is under the local only anymore. And you'll see that we're trying to keep the same amount in there as we had last year, because of the phase 2 project that we're hoping to finish up with Siemens, which is coming up this spring, so that we can work on some things that definitely need to be done in the district, like roofs, walls, entryways, etc., without raising taxes on the taxpayers by dropping it down this year, but then asking for over $1 million worth of roofs following it. So it's all going to be under the phase 2 that will come to you guys to vote on later in the spring.
Any questions? And we go on to food service.
So good evening. Do you hear me? Does everybody have one of the worksheets in front of them? Crystal, did everybody get the budgets? Everybody has a budget in front of them. So we can go down through the worksheet, the first line, asking for a $1,000 increase, and that basically will come from our new computer systems. We are going to have an annual contract that's going to be a little bit more for each one of the buildings, as well as looking at moving forward, adding another software with it. It's compatible for back of the house, and that will be like inventory control and standardizing our recipes and making sure that all of the kitchens are functioning within the same parameters. Is there any questions on that? The second item, I am going to decrease the dues and fees. I think that has been overestimated, so I can decrease that. The third item, I'm asking for a 5% increase in our breakfast food cost, and the driving factor in that is our breakfast after the bell, our second breakfast that we're doing, and our breakfast in the classrooms on our sharing numbers. We're having more participation, so I'm anticipating an increase there. On the reverse side of that, the non-food items, I think was overestimated, and we can go down a little bit on that line. Does anybody have any questions in regards to the food and the non-food items in the breakfast program? The fruit and veggie grant is pretty much dictated by the state. It's a dollar amount per student based on our population for our 3 buildings, and we anticipate participating in that program as well next year. And then the non-food item portion of that, we can decrease that as we streamline and move towards working with our local producers and them supplying. We have less non-food items that we are actually purchasing. They're coming to us all prepared and all ready to put out for the classrooms. So that was good news. And in the lunch, the overall lunch or the supply category there, I'm asking for a 2% increase for that. I believe that based on our spending habits this year and past, we can anticipate a little increase in our overall lunch food cost. I am not asking for any increase there at all. I think that we can stay within that parameters. Our summer rep program, we're no increase there. And we can get down to the revenue piece of it. If there are no questions in so far. For our revenue, for our daily lunch, you're seeing a $20,000 decrease there, and that is based on our current year and the past 2 years. I feel like those numbers have been overestimated and fallen short of that, and I'm just asking for us to kind of align our budget to what our actuals are. And I think that as you go down through this whole revenue section, that is the thought process here, is to really align what our actuals are. So we have the universal breakfast, the $30,000 decrease there. One of the reasons there is we are offering free breakfast. So there is no revenues that are coming in under that, with the exception of the those participating. So that kind of speaks for itself. The daily non-reimbursable, the $7,000 there, I feel like that number was overstated. And based, again, by the pattern of the last few years, you can see that. The federal lunch program the same, as well as the breakfast program. So at the end, we get to a nice number. Overall, our budget looks like it's going to be increased by about $60,000, but we are seeing that we have fallen short.
Any questions? Yes.
And Scott and Crystal explaining why in years past this was never part of the budget. I had asked Dr. Wall years ago and didn't really understand the answer. So do you have a better?
It's a separate line item, it's a separate warrant that you have to vote for. Okay? The big difference is we've seen back years and years ago when we were jail, we had a separate line. We actually put money in every year, put money in every year to help subsidize the program. The reason we are hurting right now, and Crystal and I couldn't figure out why our auditors in the past hadn't seen this, because we thought they were right on top of this. Crystal started noticing late last spring and brought it to the finance committee saying, we know we're short, we've got to figure out why we're short and we're hurting for money. The big areas are, as I had sent out an email to you guys, were former food service director was overestimating what our revenues were going to be. And instead of adjusting those per year, she actually added on an extra 5% each year, thinking we were going to get even more, but we never even got that for the last 2 or 3 years. So that was the biggest place that we were hurting. The other piece is that we are offering universal free breakfast. In order for that to be a break-even point, we need to have 67 to 70% of our students with free reduced lunch. We do not have that. We're in the 50% range. So that's where we lose money there as well. Another small piece is we do have universal lunch just for the pre-K students. We lose a little bit of money there. And the other place we lose a little bit of money is people who owe the bill is that we don't get all the money back. But the two biggest areas is the fact that we overestimated our revenue the last 2-3 years. That's why we're trying to make that up. And then the universal breakfast. I think it's important myself that we keep the universal breakfast in place. Understanding that we're asking for more from each town this year than we would in the future, knowing that we could probably ask $25,000 to $30,000 from each town each year to subsidize and make sure that we can continue with the free breakfast, continue with the pre-K universal lunch, and should be, solvent in that area. What we need to do though is, the reason we're asking for so much more this year is because we need to make up the fact that we did not get those revenues.
So it's been a few years since I was on finance, but we had asked every so often for an update, and I don't remember the last time the board got an update on the food and nutrition program. So I think when I saw the email, I was a little bit shocked, and that's why I was asking. I don't think, I think universal breakfast is great, but just seeing it after so many years of hearing things are good, I think the finance committee should really, I'm not on it, I shouldn't be speaking for them, but I think we need more updates to the board.
I agree. And Laura's walked into a tough situation. She's really has done a great job for us and has helped us figure out where we're losing money. She's done a great job of making sure all the paperwork's been filled out to get the subsidies that we're supposed to be getting. So that's another place, if you're not doing the paperwork the right way or completely, you can lose money every month from the state and federal government for the subsidies that we get. So she's been very thorough with that. And of course, I use the NEVO program, I have to check it off afterwards. But we're getting more money in subsidies monthly because she's been on top of it. I think going forward, you're going to see a big difference. We can make sure that in every couple of months that we bring the food service information to the finance committee.
Absolutely, I think full disclosure is the best way to kind of guide us through this. I think we all can agree that providing healthy meals for these students and starting their day with a breakfast is beneficial. And I think it's really very well received by the student population and as well as by the staff. So I applaud the board for making that decision because there's so many schools throughout the state that certainly don't. And I think it's a good program.
Actually, part of my question was about the subsidies and getting on the long-term plan, but I don't know if you can hear me. But my other question is some of those monies that we're not getting from parents, I'm wondering if part of that percentage of the fee should be getting 3 months through the program.
Well, unless they go through the process and fill out the paperwork, and we can't force anybody. We send everybody home with the paperwork at the beginning of the year. I send out bills on a monthly basis. I cold call people constantly, encourage them if they would like me to send them an application if they feel it would be beneficial. Really trying to do anything that we can. Otis was wonderful to us. We received some donations. I just went through and allocated all that money onto the students' accounts, and it's really been helpful. But unfortunately, I think part of our problem is student debt, and that comes down to communication. And I think with our new system that we have, it will have automatic alerts once a week, just like the snow day alerts, low balance alerts will go out. And I am very much looking forward to that. I've also already got some information that will go home in the backpacks with each of the students, and stuff for the offices that are like, how do you get this app on your phone so that you, as a parent, can stay in touch with what's going on with your school lunch program. And I think that as we transition into this new program, which will take place next month, that will be very, very helpful. And all that was paid for by a grant, with the exception of the primary school. So that's really, really good.
Do you have an estimate of the total estimate of the arrears on that?
I did not bring that with me, but I certainly can get that for you if that's something that you
Or
would
if you
like.
can get something roughly.
Absolutely, I can get that for you.
Any other questions?
Thank you.
Adult education.
You see the short, sweet, to the point,
small.
Oh, that's right.
If you want to present,
I wanted to preface this, just by looking at, the revenues from FY19 to now, incrementally since I've been here in the last 5 years, we've increased the tax dollars, to pay for adult education, and slowly but surely we're bringing in more grants and we have more revenue opportunities. So this year there will be no increase for taxpayers. So repairs and maintenance, we're looking at about $3,000 to install external lighting. We have our CNA program, and looking to the future we'll have additional nighttime programming as well. So making sure it's really well lit for safety reasons. We put that in the budget for next year. Contracted services. I met with Scott and Crystal. We talked a little bit about an expansion of the culinary program, additional space in the building, a prep table, fryolator, and additional hours for our workforce instructors. So I'm estimating $7,000 for that. And then the other increase is cost of living raises for my staff, and that's $47,000. I just wanted to add the revenue that we are going to offset this by is on the ED279 report. So each year I have to report out how many learners we serve through adult ed that are between the ages of 16 and 20 years old. It's put into the formula on the ED279 report. So we're having $15,000 come into our budget to offset that. Any questions?
You said $47,000 for support.
Oh, sorry, no, 4,700.
I wanted that.
Your mercy still important.
Well, and I guess this is more for Ed and Doug, for you. So did we just miss getting some lighting done around that building down there, or do we need to keep it separate when we did phase one? I just hate to see you having to pay for lighting. Or, huh? I mean, I agree. I mean, I've always felt that we're in much better shape around the building for lighting since we did the project, but it feels like we must have missed something.
Well, I think it's because this is the same building as the central office, and
Yeah, well, we
people
no air
didn't
conditioning.
want to spend their money at the central office in phase one, so I don't know if they'll spend money at the central office.
Well, I look at that as a point we need to take away with that. You can't forget that part of what's going on. Thank you.
Anything. Right? I don't think you do much without external lighting around the district. Project.
Yeah.
These are all right. Just miss that.
okay, we can add that possibly, the possibility for phase two.
Yeah, so good. This is the first I've even heard of it.
Don't you work in the same building?
Can we get some lights?
How they doing here?
Any other questions?
Not a question, but it was brought up that there was no lighting after the school board's meeting with Ben Neely. It was supposed to remedy it. Never got done. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Someone call all other.
You should have a handout. Now that I'm directly involved with overseeing and paying for all the copies we make, I just want double-sided. Try to save on paper. So I'll go down to the curriculum coordinator side first, the instruction side, which is a pretty small area. Covers textbooks for all the schools.
So it's not really much of an impact. It's actually down a little bit this year. Not a lot of changes, but there is, we purposely made sure money was in there this year to update the primary and elementary school math program, as well as a writing curriculum for the primary and elementary school as well. We want to make sure we have that in there. We're actually starting the process now. We've had one meeting with the Language Arts Committee to look at writing programs, and next, after vacation, we have a meeting coming up with math committee as well as anybody else that wants to be involved in starting to look at new math programs. So, want to make sure we have the money to do that when we're ready. That was on page 5. Sorry, I forgot to tell you that. The next one is on page 12 and 13, under the improvement of instruction, just the professional stipends. You'll notice that line's up 10,000, but that's a direct reflection on the professional stipend lines under the K-8 and 9-12 staff training, which is on page 13. Those lines have actually been decreased by 12,000, and 10,000 that was moved up into this line. Just in reviewing what was being paid for out of those lines, we realized that we were actually paying out of the improvement of instruction professional stipend line things that we thought were under the other line. So just to make it a lot cleaner, we moved everything up into the professional stipends under improvement of instruction. And then the other one, actually it's not really, there's no specific place in the budget that you would necessarily see it, but I want to make sure that the board's aware that we have made a conscious effort during this budget to ensure we have adequate professional development funds for staff going into next year. And this was accomplished by doing three main things. Some of it we did, some of it the state helped out with. The first was actually moving half a teaching position from our Title II class size reduction funds into the regular budget. For the last, actually since I've been here, which is going on 12 years, we've always, Title II money that we've gotten has always paid for 2 teachers to help with class size reduction and to keep our numbers down in classes. And it's always been tough because basically that means all that Title II money is going to pay for staff. And one of the big things that Title II can also pay for is professional development under their guidelines. So we've never really been able to access those funds to do any professional development. So this year we've actually moved half a teacher into the regular budget, and that actually frees up $20,000 under Title II, which we'll then be able to use for professional development for staff. We've also targeted almost $17,000 in Title V funds that can also be used for professional development, and that's money we have now that we can use up into June. And then also we've also received $20,000 from the Department of Ed to target professional development, and that's specific to the primary and elementary school, mostly to target the math improvements that are needed for the whole district, but they're focusing because they're title schools, they focus on the primary and the elementary school. So overall, that's an increase of about $64,000 to go towards professional development for staff next year that we really didn't have in the past. Any questions on instruction?
I just want to point out that we had talked about the class size reduction when we were talking about Kevin's school and how his increase went up in the teacher's salary line. One of the reasons why it went up was because we did move half that teacher, because both of those teachers from the Title II class size reduction in the school.
Yeah. According to the state guidelines, class size reduction has to be in the K-2 grade level, so it's always over at Kevin's school. All right, under instructional technology, which starts on page, it's actually all on page 12.
under the contracted services, that's where you'll see the big change. We had an increase in that line of $32,550. And we've increased that line significantly in order to do some outsourcing for network and server needs, either doing that with local companies that either bid or come in to do the work, or part of that is actually an effort to look more at cloud services. This year, I mean, it's not necessarily easy, it can be a little bit of a bumpy road. But this year, we actually moved our student information system, Power School, to cloud-based. We used to always have a server here, so any issues that would happen, we would have to deal with them. It was a little bit bumpy getting it up in the cloud. We were down for a few days because of it. But once that was done, it's actually been running very smoothly for the rest of the year. So we have some opportunities to do that with some of our other big server items. One of our other big things is our ADS Pro Fund, which actually runs all of our billing, payroll, anything that has to do with money. And there's an option to move that to cloud-based. But unlike the Power School, where we were able to save some money because the state is actually picking up the cost for that, this one we would actually have to pay for. And to do that, it runs about roughly $9,000 a year to have them run it in the cloud. So some of that contracted money could go towards that if that's a decision we make to do. Of course, to go along with that, under the computer software and equipment, you're going to see actually pretty much the same decrease that we increased the contracted services. And looking through that, the equipment, it was definitely high, but it was high because they had bought, over the last couple of years, they bought a lot of Chromebooks, and actually they bought quite a few to fill in for the high school and the middle school and things like that. But right now, we're at, from grade 12 all the way down to grade 3, we're one-to-one, either Chromebooks or the laptops, which are still at grades in the middle school. So we're really at the point now where all we have to do is worry about replacing those Chromebooks when they start out of date. So like next year, we're actually going to replace the Chromebooks for the 9th graders going into the high school. So they'll have new Chromebooks to go through high school. And so that actually will help decrease our equipment costs because we're only replacing about 100 Chromebooks a year instead of 300. So we're at that point now where we're kind of comfortable with the amount of money we have to spend on equipment. And then the only other one, general supplies, a small decrease. It's funny because I said that part of this may be due to replacing worn-out projectors. Usually the cost of about $1,000 with smart TVs at a cost of about $400. And I think I forgot too that I made TJ put money in his budget, so that's also why mine decreased. So I made TJ pay for them. Any questions?
I need to ask it as well. The Chromebooks for the seniors are going with the seniors, right? They're on the take them. That was the plan, correct?
No. My understanding, well, the reason I say that was because last year that was the plan, and I think the board decided they weren't going to do that because it was too costly. And so I think the assumption was that was not going to happen anymore.
A year ago.
I just got to ask this, that micro film printer out in the hallway, Christie's office over there, is that part of your new technology you're putting in over here?
In order to move forward, we're moving backwards.
Nothing's impressive about that.
Done.
kind of thought a lot of base services would save you money, not more cost.
Yes,
So-
that's, yeah. Right, no, it's not true. Yes, that's what everybody thinks. I thought that too.
Well, it will in the end.
Right,
You won't have to
supposedly
pay-
in the long
pay on
term.
the hardware, right? and
Right.
software and
Yeah. And that's, and that is what, and of course, when they gave me the quote, specifically for the ADS, they gave me the quote, and of course, they showed the side-by-side comparison of what the cloud costs and the services you get from them, and then what the cost would actually be to replace the server, to have somebody come in and work on the server. So if you have all those, our ADS server is actually one of our newer servers, that's why it's somewhat of a question of whether we should move that way or not. But then again, if that server is free, we can use it for other things. We don't necessarily have to use it for ADS. But yes, if you had to actually replace a server and things like that, then it would be costly. So in the long run, it should save money over time.
Anyone else? Thank you. Aye. You got your list of appointments for co-curricular? And our next meeting is February 17th. We're just meeting at primary, 27th, excuse me, 27th. Can't even, how do I say, 14th, whatever, yeah, whatever. Finance committee meeting at 5, and we start board review budget. And March 12th at Spruce Mt Elementary, policy and another review. Hopefully we don't have to use the 19th legislature. And I entertain a motion to adjourn. Anybody? Stevie and Joel seconded. All those in favor?